All right, let's talk about literature reviews. I know, the name itself can sound a little intimidating, but I want you to think about it differently. Forget writing a report. You're a detective. Seriously. Your job isn't to just line up all the clues you find. It's to connect them, to spot the patterns, and to tell the bigger story of what all the research is really saying.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to nail down what a lit review actually is. Then, we'll look at how to structure it. After that, we'll walk through a 5-step process to get you from a blank page to a finished paper. We'll spend some real time on the most important skill, synthesis, and then wrap up with some common mistakes and pro tips to really make your work stand out.
Okay, let's dive right in. Before you can write a great literature review, you have to be crystal clear on what it is, and, just as importantly, what it isn't.
Let's get this out of the way right now because it's a super common mistake. A literature review is not just a list of summaries. It's not an annotated bibliography where you go, this paper said this, and this paper said that. Nope. Think of it more like a conversation. You're bringing all these different sources together to show the reader what's currently known about a topic.
So here's the official definition, but I want you to focus on 2 words, synthesizes and evaluates. That's your job. You're weaving everything together to create one coherent picture. This proves you've done your homework, it builds your credibility, and it gives your reader the context they need for whatever you're going to say next.
So we know what it is, but how in the world you organize this thing? Well, you've got a few options, a few standard blueprints you can follow, and it really just depends on the story you're trying to tell. You've basically got 3 main flavors. Chronological is awesome, if you want to show how an idea has evolved over time. Methodological is your go-to if the how, the research methods, is the most important part of the story. But honestly, most of the time, you're going to want to go with a thematic structure. You just find the common themes that keep popping up in your sources and build your sections around those. Easy.
Okay, with a structure in mind, we can start mapping out the actual journey. We're going to break this whole thing down into 5 simple, manageable steps that will take you all the way from a basic idea to a polished paper.
And here they are. Define, find, assess, synthesize, and write. That's it. This is your roadmap. If you follow these steps, I promise you won't get lost and you won't miss anything important.
Step 1 is everything. I mean it. Before you even think about searching for articles, you need a sharp, focused research question. This is your North Star. It's what keeps you from getting distracted and drowning in a sea of totally irrelevant studies.
Now for the fun part, the hunt. Here's a little power-up for your searching skills. Learn to use Boolean operators. And makes your search more specific. Or helps you catch synonyms like teenager or adolescent. And not is like a filter to get rid of stuff you don't want. Trust me, learning this will save you so much time.
Okay, so you've got a pile of sources. Now it's time to put on your critic hat. Don't just believe everything you read. You have to ask the tough questions. How did they do this study? Could there be any bias here? Like publication bias, where studies that find exciting, positive results are way more likely to get published. You have to be a skeptical reader.
And here we go. This is where the magic happens. This is the real detective work. You're not just listing what each study said. You're looking for connections, for debates, for disagreements between the studies. This is that synthesis we keep talking about. It's the absolute heart of a good literature review.
And finally, you write. You take all those connections and patterns you found, and you weave them into a clear story for your reader. Use headings and subheadings, probably based on the themes you found, to act as signposts, guiding them through the academic conversation you've just mapped out.
Okay, this idea of synthesis is so important it gets its own section. This is the one skill that really separates a meh literature review from a truly great one. So let's look at a side-by-side example to make it totally clear. So first up, have a look at this. This is a summary. It's fine. It tells us exactly what one particular study found. It's accurate, it's clear, but it's isolated. It's just one clue sitting by itself. Now, check this out. This is synthesis. It starts with that very same study, but look what happens next. It immediately starts to build a bigger story, right? It tells us what that study found. And boom, here's the move. The writer then pulls in findings from a totally different study. They're comparing, they're contrasting, they're showing where these 2 studies agree and where they might disagree. See the difference? It's not 2 summaries. It's one paragraph that creates a new, more complex insight by putting those sources into a direct conversation with each other. That's the whole game.
All right, let's bring it home. We're going to do a little rapid-fire round of common mistakes you need to dodge and some pro tips to help you really knock this thing out of the park.
Here are the big no-nos. We've hammered the summarizing one already. Also, a big one is ignoring research that contradicts what you're saying. You have to show the whole picture, debates and all. Keep it organized. Stick to primary sources whenever you can, and always, always tell your reader how you found your sources.
And for the pro tips? Okay. 1. Use a citation manager like Zotero or Mendeley from day 1. It will literally save your sanity. 2. Be critical. Actively look for the gaps. What hasn't been studied yet? That gap, that's probably where your own research is going to live. And 3, of course, cite everything. When in doubt, add a citation.
Look, at the end of the day, is it a lot of work? Yeah, for sure. But a really good literature review isn't just an assignment you have to get through. It's a real, valuable contribution. You are literally charting the course of knowledge in your field so that others and you know where to go next.
When you understand the conversation that's already happening, you're getting ready to add your own voice. You're finding the very edge of the map. So the only real question left is, where are you going to take us next?